Good morning, everyone. It's August 15th, 2025. I want to give you an update on the tropics. We've got Erin that is on the verge of becoming a hurricane, may already be a hurricane based on what we're looking at now. And then another tropical system in the Gulf that could impact Texas in the next couple days. So a lot going on. We're going to start things off with Erin. Erin is a tropical storm, borderline hurricane. I expect by the time you're watching this video, it may already be a hurricane. It has strengthened this morning. You can see a very impressive looking system here on the visible satellite loop. The storm is, again, getting better organized. There's a nice amount of thunderstorm activity wrapping around the center. And the hurricane hunters have been in it this morning. We just got this report from the hurricane hunters. Pressure hasn't dropped that much, 998 millibars, which is close to where it was. But closed eye wall here. Max flight level winds about 75 knots. If you reduce that down to what you'd expect to see toward the surface, you're getting pretty close to 65 knots, which would be a hurricane. So we probably have Hurricane Erin on our hands already. We'll get the next advisory from the Hurricane Center coming up at 11 a.m. But no real change to what we've been thinking with the storm. Erin is moving to the west right now at a pretty good clip. It's moving at 17 miles per hour. It's beginning to gain a little bit of latitude. It's now moving to the west-northwest as opposed to due west. So that is also what we've anticipated. We've got tropical storm watches in effect for Anguilla, Antigua, Barbuda, St. Martin, St. Bart's. But again, it looks like the storm is going to pass well to the north of those islands. So just sort of a glancing blow with some squally rain and a bit of wind. Can't rule that out for parts of the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico as well, especially if Erin were to track on the southern side of the cone. But we've got really good agreement right now that Erin is going to come to the north and then come to the west rather, and then turn to the north and pass somewhere between, it looks like, Cape Hatteras and Bermuda. Now, Erin is going to become a very powerful hurricane. Our computer models and the forecast of the National Hurricane Center bring Erin up to a Category 4 over the southwest Atlantic. So this hurricane is a big one, and it is going to be a strong one, and that means we will see some impacts on the east coast of the United States in the form of some powerful swells later next week, which will bring some dangerous rip currents to the beaches. So something to keep in mind if you're heading to any of the ocean beaches, really anywhere from South Florida all the way north to Maine next week. We're going to see some issues. Now, Erin, as we mentioned, is strengthening on the verge of hurricane strength. This is a look at where Erin is now. Here are the islands off to the west. And notice the colors here. We go from this lighter orange to a darker orange. That shows areas where the water is warmer. And so we're going to be moving across these warmer waters. And you're getting up close to about 30 degrees Celsius out here. And that's going to allow for some strengthening of the storm. These storms like warm water. That's their fuel. And the warmer the water is, it raises the bar for potential intensity. So that's why we are expecting increased strength with Erin, and again, getting close to Category 4 status. And check out some of our computer models here. This graph shows the possible wind speed of the storm, and a lot of our computer models bringing this up to Category 4 strength, and a few even bring it close to Cat 5 strength. So something that we'll be keeping a close eye on as the storm moves to the west and then eventually to the north. So let's take a look at our computer models. We've been showing you these models all week because they're showing us the steering currents in the atmosphere. And this is the European model. There is Erin down to the south, passing north of the islands. It's being steered to the west by this ridge of high pressure, the darker red, that maroon shading to the north. That's forcing the storm west. But as that ridge breaks down, we're going to give Erin the little escape hatch here it needs to turn to the north and then eventually get caught by the jet stream and race off to the east. So you can see that turn here. I'm going to go back in time, show you one more time. There you go, moving west and then turning to the north and passing between Cape Hatteras and Bermuda. So that's the European computer model. Here's the GFS computer model. Same deal here. There's Erin passing north of the islands, moving west. And then it turns to the north as it encounters that weakness in the ridge. So check this out. This is Monday morning at about 11 a.m. or so. And there's the center of the storm, north of Hispaniola, east of the Bahamas. And we've got the ridge, the stronger ridge over the southeastern U.S., a stronger ridge to the southeast of Bermuda, and then that weakness right in between. And Erin's going to take every advantage of that weakness and pass to the north. There was some concern over the last couple of days that this ridge may build in a little bit more and tug Erin a little bit farther to the west, a little closer to the Carolinas. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen. We got really good agreement now that this thing's going to come to the north, and it gets caught in the jet stream, gets caught in the westerlies, and will move out to sea. It might become a pretty powerful storm over the North Atlantic, somewhere south of Greenland and east of Newfoundland and Labrador. So here's another look at our spaghetti plots. We've been showing you these. This is the Super Ensemble from our friend Tomer Berg, who has a great website. And you can see this is a combination of the European computer model, the GFS computer model, and the Canadian. So you put all of them together, and that's just not one ensemble. That is a super ensemble. And where you see the darker shades of green and yellow, that's where you've got better agreement with the computer models, a closer density of all those lines close together. More spaghetti means a brighter color, and you can see here the track to the west and then to the north, and there's virtually no outliers now that are bringing this storm into the Carolinas or even scraping the coast. Everything is out to sea to the east of North Carolina and generally to the west of Bermuda. Bermuda is a little more at risk. If you get an earlier recurve, could be a little worse for Bermuda, but at least right now everything keeps it between North Carolina, at least the center, North Carolina and Bermuda. This is the trend in the track over the last couple days. The blue would be a forecast that was from the 9th of August, so from a while ago. And the black is the most recent forecast, and you can see the track is a little bit farther to the west than the earlier computer model runs. So if you were watching a couple days ago, it looked like this thing could get very close to Bermuda with the earlier recurve. We get a later recurve. It looks like we make it to about 70 west, but the last couple runs here have had pretty good consistency in turning the storm to the north when it gets to about 70 degrees longitude. So we're, again, pretty confident that that's going to happen. Could it go a little farther west? Sure, but it looks like that trend to the west and the southwest has generally stopped. So that is certainly some good news. So this morning, the news items are the storm strengthening. The storm is beginning to gain a little bit of latitude, is moving to the north, and our computer models have sort of stopped that western trend that would have brought the storm a little bit closer to the east coast of the United States. So as we take a look at the islands here, here's Puerto Rico, here are the Virgin Islands. Over here you've got St. Martin and Anguilla, and then St. Kitts and Nevis, a little farther to the south, and then Antigua and Barbuda. So these are the islands to the north that may have at least some impact from Erin. Here's the storm. I'm going to go back in time and then forward it for you. So there's Erin passing to the north of the islands. Still gets some rain, so the outer bands of Erin that are moving into the storm could impact some of the islands here. Not expecting any major issues, but some squally rain, tropical storm force winds a possibility. A better bet over the islands here than over Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is pretty far south of the track, so Puerto Rico may be okay. And if you take a look at the wind gust forecast here, this is from the European computer model, and you can see the center of the storm. The strongest winds on the north side of it this weekend, and it moves on through. It does bring some pretty strong winds close to Anguilla and the Virgin Islands, but nothing they can't handle. These winds, this green shading, this darker green, wind gusts of 34 knots or 40 miles per hour. So it might be a crummy beach day or two on the islands, but that should be about the worst of this one. Tropical storm wind probabilities, they've come down a little bit. San Juan looking at about a 10% probability of tropical storm force winds. Once you get up toward Anguilla, it gets a little higher. It gets toward 30 or 40%. But again, nothing too significant, nothing they can't handle. In terms of hurricane force winds probability, less than 5% for all the islands there. You can see there's the curve of the storm to the north, which is what we want to see. In terms of Bermuda, let's look at Bermuda. Bermuda is right here. I'll leave the cursor here so you can see it, because it's, if you look in if you have your domain as on the entire Atlantic, it's sort of hard to see Bermuda. It's sort of little, but here's a look at the track of the storm. Again, coming to the north and then passing well west of Bermuda. So sort of the perfect track here to get this thing away from land. East of Cape Hatteras, west of Bermuda, passing in between the goalposts here, as I like to call it. So again, maybe some squally rain for Bermuda, some big swells, but the worst of the storm is going to be near the center, and that should miss Bermuda by a decent margin if our current computer guidance holds. And then in terms of swells, that's going to be an issue for the beaches. This time of year, you got a lot of people heading to the ocean. So from Maine down to Florida, we're going to see these big swells developing from Erin as it moves to the north. and those swells will be pointed directly at the ocean-facing beaches Thursday and Friday across southern New England. And before that, farther to the south, let me go back in time here. So portions of Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina early in the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, some big swells and rip currents. Swell heights could reach 10 to 15, 10 to 16 feet over the Outer Banks. Those are some monster waves. Big waves for the Jersey Shore out through coastal Long Island, through the Hamptons, Fire Island, the Hamptons, South County, Rhode Island, Narragansett, Charlestown, Misquamicut, parts of Cape Cod, and then probably not so bad for the North Shore of Boston and the seacoast of New Hampshire, but some big waves for central Maine coast and down East Maine, and then the storm will move out to sea, and those wave heights will subside a little bit as well. The next storm we're watching is here. This has the potential to become our next tropical system. The Hurricane Center giving it a 50% chance of development. It's very close to the coast of northern Mexico and southern Texas. Houston, Galveston's up here, Corpus Christi down here, Brownsville, Texas here. The storm is often over some very warm waters in the Gulf, and it has a chance to develop. Doesn't look like it's going to do a whole lot here, but it will bring some heavy rain to the Rio Grande Valley as this comes north. So this could be our next system, and if it is, it will likely get the F name, which is Fernand. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. But all eyes on Erin. The good news is it looks like the impact to land will be fairly minimal, with the exception of those big swells to the east coast of the United States, and also some squally rain, maybe tropical storm conditions in some of the islands, especially the ones that are farther to the north. So we'll keep you posted. Ooh, almost sneezed there. I saved myself. So we'll keep you posted on the storm as we go through the next couple of days. I know a lot of people want to know what's going on. We're going to try to keep you posted with fair and accurate information. We're going to get rid of the hype. You don't need any of the BS that you can typically find on social media. So we're going to cut right through the facts, give you a look under the hood to show you what's going on, what we're looking at. But at least right now, for most of us, not a whole lot to worry about here. Sort of a curiosity as the storm passes to the east of the east coast of the United States and to the west of Bermuda. We'll keep you posted with Erin and any other developments in the tropics. Thanks for watching.